Hello, my lovely friends, my dear audiences. Welcome back to the show. When I say back to show, I mean that due to the response, the feedback, the positive feedback, super positive feedback of the previous shows, I have to invite my good friend Stephen Tongley here again to continue talking about planning while young financially, and to my dear friends who wrote me, my dear audiences who wrote me in their email, they sent an email to tellmydj at GDImedia.com, and here is Mr. Stephen Tongley for you. I leap up to my words. Okay, so Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, good. Without saying that, without having to mention that how well the response are, I believe you really have stirred up the water.
Okay.
And for the last 3 times, and people talking about your proposal of having our kids started young.
Right.
And I believe that among those who wrote me, lots of them are moms.
Okay.
Daddy seems to be care less about that because you're talking about a small number of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And moms tend to be more interested if you can start their kids young, right? Okay. Now, however, that said, to audiences, my audience who just turned on the show and see it the first time, though, I would like to invite you to tell the whole thing again.
Okay.
Explain the whole thing again, including who you are and, why you put up with this concept, please.
Okay. My name is Steve Huntley, and I'm a financial planner. I've been a financial planner for almost 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time period, I've seen that I've dealt with all sorts of people, senior citizens, babies, all that. But when a person is young, when a person is like 15 to 24 years old, there's a lot going on in their life. There's school, there's dating, there's I want to do this. But it's the rarest opportunity because you only get to be young once. You only get to be 21 years old once. So if you learn to put money away. Now, the way to put money away and to invest it is not to see it. In other words, if you're earning it, you're working at Starbucks or whatever, and the money's coming in the door, and you take the first $25 or $50 that you make, and it automatically goes into the fund. Just take it right out of your bank account. You never see it. Eventually,
just pretend as if you never seen that. You never earned that.
Right, you never. But it goes back to my philosophy in a second. But it goes back to if you don't see it, you don't spend it. So you can't go out and okay, that $50 that's going into this fund. If you don't see it, you won't be able to spend it on movies or whatever. The other thing is that you really, as you go through life, you need to develop a habit or philosophy of paying yourself first. In other words, you earn the money. You're working.
Pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first. So why shouldn't you just take a percentage of the money that you earn, and before it goes to rent or school funds or dating or whatever, if you don't see it, you've now paid yourself first. Now, you may not think, okay, $50 or $100 a month is not much. Okay, I will agree, it's not much. But you start thinking about it, if you're 21 years old, and for the next 25 years, or the next 30 years, you put away $75 a month, which mathematically comes out about $2, $2.50 a day. At the end of that time period, you'll have $1 million at 5% interest. Now, 5% interest
is not a big interest.
It's not a big deal. I mean, things go up and down, but on average, you know, and at the same time, you've learned that money can be used over a time period, can continue to grow.
That's exactly lots of mom mention.
Right.
One mom says, I never thought of $75 per month would end up that much.
Sure.
$75 could be 2 dinners for a family.
Right.
Size like 4.
Right.
Right? That's it. That's it.
$75 is about $2.50 a day.
And the other point that you mentioned, which is very important, also one mother wrote that there are things people can do. Never, for example, learning.
Yeah.
Never too late to learn.
Right.
Right. Never too late to learn.
Right.
But for the money thing, due to the fact that you are accumulating from your original money.
Right.
So you got to start young, and yet you are young only once.
That's right. You are young once. That's
And
it.
she says, I'm going to press it onto my son, let him understand, while you're young, you can do everything. Why not this?
Right. You can do everything. You have your health. You know, and I understand there's a lot of pressures on young people to go buy new stuff or the new phone or the new car or what have you. But if you don't see the money, if the money's just
with all the news
yeah.
versus only $75, that's not even a big deal.
No, $75 is not a large amount of money.
Not a large amount of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they start young, they will do that. Okay, now lots of folks, and I believe my dear audiences, including those who wrote me, like those moms who says they want their kids to start young. Right. The recommendation is that you really want to have a, kind of talk.
Right.
Right? Sit
Right.
down, have a talk
Right.
with their son and daughter, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Let them know what you have, what you plan.
Yeah. You sit with them and you help them understand. If understanding is the key to this whole thing. If you understand what you're talking about, if I teach or explain to a person, okay, this is the investment strategy that's available to you. This is where you're going to go. This is how much money you have to put away to get where you want to go. That starts the seed, and then it begins to understand. Then what happens is, especially with young people, they'll be looking in a newspaper and they'll see something exotic in the financial world, and they'll give me a call. I just saw this. Can you tell me about this? All that helps, because now it makes you a smarter person. It makes you more intelligent. It makes you more understanding, and you make better decisions, because you're going to make lots of decisions in your life.
Very good.
As you get older too.
All right. My dear audience, today I'm having another good time. It is all because the previous 3 shows I had with my good friend Stephen Hunley, a financial planner, consultant, talking about his proposal of letting our young people, instead of or in addition to enjoying the materialistic world, why don't you start something for yourself? Plan early, because while you're young, because you're only young once. Okay. Now let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the mothers, how they think, what their concerns are. Stay with us, please.
Let's do it.
Hello, my dear audience, lovely audience. Welcome back to the show. Oh, those of moms, you are there, and of course, some dads. Well, we're talking about your stuff. And with me today is my good friend, Stephen Hunley, the one you asked for. I kept my promise. I kept my word. Sure enough, I got him for you, right? Okay, now, also, you may continue writing to me. Send me your questions to tell my DJ at G&E, edimedia.com. As the bottom says on the screen, I'll at least do one thing. I'll do this. Either I write to you, or one of my assistants will write to you, or at least I will wrap up your question, get Steve here one more time to let him answer your question.
Okay.
Okay, now. One mom says, okay, I have my note here.
All right.
And these days, all cell phone thing.
Everything's
I
on the
have
cell
this,
phone.
yeah.
I know.
Okay, one mom says, okay, anyway. One mom says that my son is 15 years old.
Okay.
Right? And he's in school.
Right.
He doesn't work.
Right.
I do not even want her to work. I want him to work.
Right.
Right? and yet I want him to start,
Okay.
right? And may I or can I send, say, put up, so like, say, $2,000,
Right.
and then with that I put a recommended number, like you say, $75 on the monthly. I do on his behalf,
Right.
and then by the time he graduated, ready to go for a job, or even part-time job, on high school though, I turn the thing over to him. You do your own self. Does that sound a plan, please?
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
You just remember when a child is less than 18 years old, he's still a minor, and the parents would have to. Minors have different.
But
rules.
compared to 18 though, you have 3 years already established.
Sure, you have 3 years established, plus you have 3 years of education to say, okay, you understand where this money's going. We're not, you're not turning 18 and you're, oh, this is all this stuff. It's like slowly bring him along from 15 to 18. Suddenly maybe he's starting to look into the world a little differently. Maybe he's reading the newspaper, the financial section, whatever. But he's learning. And as he learns, life is a learning process, but the earlier you start, the more it becomes, the more you understand. So the parents can put the money away for him. Again, it's the parents, same philosophy. You just don't see the money. It just comes in the door, it goes into this account for the benefit of the son or the daughter. Someday down the road, when the parent feels comfortable, turns over the ownership to the son or the daughter, and that's great. But you've taught your child now, hey, this is available to you. It's not a big scary thing that's only reserved for banks or brokers in New York. It can happen.
It's not a burden. It's not a burden.
It's actually not.
It's not a burden at all, right?
No, it's actually a really interesting thing, because the more you learn about it, the more you go. There's so many times when I have sat with young people and they'll go, I never realized this was there. I thought this was just when you got to be 50 or 60 years old. No. The financial products, financial rules apply to everybody.
What happened is that with your principal money,
Right.
with every month deposit
Right.
or something, they kind of accumulate it,
Yeah.
and it's multiplied interest, right?
Right. It's called, the technical term is called compounding. In other words,
Oh,
you're just compounding.
Compounding.
It keeps growing on itself. It's probably easier to explain it. It grows on itself, and as it continues to, more money comes in, more interest is paid, it continues to grow and grow and grow.
And together, the principal and the interest,
Right.
and the principal plus interest together with the next month goes on and on and on and on.
Right. And it's amazing. It is
amazing. It is amazing. Okay. Lisa, there's one more question.
Okay.
Not one more, but another question. Asking, okay, all right, gets one. Got it.
Okay.
Saying that I know that I can start at 75 with something $2,000 or $3,000 for a deposit for a starter,
Right.
and do 75 or even 100 on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And question is this following: when he started, meaning her son, when he started working himself, he makes more money than the originally scheduled 100.
Okay.
In other words, can he do more? Or can we say, can somebody like you, in your case, financial planner or scheduler, schedule a thing that not takes a dollar amount, takes a percentage. For example, takes 10% of my son's percentage of income on a monthly basis and build it up in a way, let mathematician take care of.
You can do it either way. You can say, okay, every month, a standard set amount of money, $100 a month or whatever, $75 a month goes in. Or you can do a percentage. Now he's earning more money. So instead of saying, okay, we're going to give, the standard rule is 10%. So 10% of what he makes, when he gets a check, he's got to put it in the bank and then, or write a check on it to the investment company. But yeah, that's the way to do it.
No. I'm talking about the system. It's not the parent or the son writing the check.
It won't take a percentage. The system will only take amount of money. But you can guess. You can say, okay, well, he makes $500 a month. We'll say 10% is $50, and you can adjust it. You can adjust it as much as you want. So if you start making more money, and you say, well, he can afford more than $50 a month. Now he can afford $100 a month.
But the problem is that in many cases, or in lots of cases, once you fix it up, it is like a contract.
It is, but
it is like a contract. Yeah. They don't allow you to pay more than the number or less than the number.
They allow you to make changes.
They do?
Yeah, you own the investment. So you say to them, Mr. Investment Company,
I see.
My son's doing better. I own this, and I'm the owner of the investment. So I'm the owner of this. My son's doing better. I want you, this is your authority to take out, instead of $50 a month, you can take out $75 a month or whatever. And they go, okay. They put it in the computer.
All right.
Next time around, boom. Or sometimes you reach a situation where, you know, instead of I can't afford this month, I can't afford $50, I can afford $35. You can do that. Because remember, if the parent, in this case, the parent owns the investment, they can, that's their investment. It's not, we're not talking about something that's paying a premium like life insurance is. We're talking about investing money. So, but let's say the child gets a bonus, and that happens a lot, especially at the end of the year. They get
bonus for investment?
No, they get a bonus. Let's say they get $1,000 bonus. They're the good top employee in the company. Okay, so now I can take 10% of that and add to it.
And even the whole bonus can go to the account.
If the whole bonus can. There's no restriction on that. Yeah, on investing, there's
to let money grow faster, right?
Right. So you can put the money in there. You know, you can jump, and maybe
there's an old term saying that money does not grow on trees.
Yeah, it's true.
But in this case, it does.
Well, it grows, because it's working. It's not sitting around and waiting to be spent or waiting to be wasted or whatever. It's actually out there. You don't see it, but it's working. That money is out there building jobs, or it's, they're building, taking that money and investing it in building houses or railroads or whatever. But it's not just sitting around on the beach drinking beer. It's just with its feet up. It's getting fat. I don't like fat money. I like money to be working. And if even it's a little bit of money, it's still working. And it's working in your best interest.
So to my mother audiences who ask a question about if you can do a larger amount, so the answer is
yeah, sure.
Yes, you can, right?
You bet.
And you can schedule the way, and you can at a certain time call for a change.
Anytime you
to
want
either increase or you reduce, something like that.
Right.
Okay, very good. All right, my dear audiences, let's take another short moment now. With me today is my good friend, Stephen Hanley, a wonderful financial consultant, a planner for young people. Lots of mothers are asking questions because it is all because of me, and he and I will stir up the water. Lots of audience will write to us asking questions about how they want to deal with their sons and daughters. Okay, stay with us, please. Hello, my lovely audience, my dear friends. Welcome back to the show. A little cold last night because the AC had it on for a whole night. It got a lump here. Anyway, I'll try. All right. Welcome back to the show with my dear friend Stephen Hanley, financial planner. We're trying to answer questions raised by some parents, especially mother, from the previous shows. In those previous shows, 3 times we did it with Mr. Stephen Hanley, working on a plan for our young people to start early. 15, 16, 17, 18, at a young age, saying that there are things, of course, even though there's a saying, never too late to do anything.
Right.
But when doing those things, you can only do when you are young, though, because of the fact you're only young once. So If you miss that opportunity, there's no way you pick it up, right? So that's why it is recommended to start early and start young. And welcome back, Steve, to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. And some are even details, are asking questions in even more details.
Okay.
Says my daughter is 17 years old.
Okay.
In 8 to 10 years time, she might get married.
Okay.
Right? So number one, can I transfer this thing to her as a gift? And number two question is that when I transfer to her as a gift, how much will be the package?
Okay.
Yeah, and it seems that two questions.
Okay, the first question is yes.
Starting 2000, $75 per month.
Right.
And she's 17.
Suppose
starting now.
Right, so she's 17 years old. She's a minor. And you're talking, let's say, 8 years, okay? So when she's 25 years old, assuming she'll be done with college, you know, and looking to get married, the mother owns the investment. The mother can then transfer the investment to the child in a couple of ways. First way they can do it is just give it to them. Second way they can do it is to put it in the mother's estate. In other words, the mother would still own it. When the mother passes away, it immediately goes to the child. Where you would have to be careful and have to consult a CPA is if you took the money out and gave it to the child. Then there may be some tax consequences that you probably don't want to involve with, because there's what's called gift taxing. So yeah, you can do that. You have an investment. You know you have this investment portfolio.
In other words, the transfer of that investment is regarded as a gift money?
No, it's not a gift. It's a transfer of ownership.
Transfer ownership. For that,
but if you take the money out,
is that taxable?
No.
Now you're not taking money out, right?
Right. If you transfer ownership, it is not taxable. But if you take the money out, close the account. And then you say, well, I'm going to give it to her.
The daughter says, well, I'm going to need the money, use the money for my wedding.
Yeah, I want to buy a house.
So that is taxable.
Yeah. The rule is they can only give anybody can give anybody under the tax code, and again, I'm not a CPA, $14,000. Anything over $14,000 in a year becomes what is called the taxable event. You accrue a gift tax.
I see.
My gift tax is stiff, about 40%. So what you do is, you have all this money, right? The child's earned it, mom's put money into it, child becomes 25 years old. Okay, mom signs off a transfer of ownership. They send a document that says, I'm transferring the ownership from me to my daughter.
I see. Okay, the very mother, second question.
Yeah.
By the time her daughter gets married, give it 10 years, for example.
Right.
And with that amount of money, that way of handling, $2,000 deposit, $75 on a monthly basis. By the time of 10-year mark, when she gets married at her wedding, and how big would be the package?
Oh, probably about 8 years, 5% interest, $75.
10 years. Give it 10 years.
10 years.
You got a calculator with you? No, you're not.
No, I'd say probably close to $40,000 to $50,000.
That's a lot of money
in that neighborhood.
That's a lot of money.
I'm probably doing it on the low side.
You're even on the low side.
Yeah, so
that's a lot of money.
Right.
And not everybody, every girl when get married gets a gift of $40,000, $50,000.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
That's a money. So you can, the mother could take the money out.
Yeah, they can go ahead.
I don't know what it.
They can go ahead and use the money for a deposit for a house.
That's right.
With her husband.
That's great, because as long as the money doesn't have, you're not putting the money into like in a retirement fund.
So I'm not recommending them to spend the money to use the $50,000 for a deposit.
They pull the money
for a home loan.
Exactly.
And with her husband, they started.
Now they're going to buy a house.
Ground zero. Yeah, they're going to buy the house.
A superb investment. Superb investment.
Very good. Very good.
Or they could put the money for if they have a child's education. A lot of flexibility here.
I see. Okay. All right. So to the mother who asked one question with the two answers, and I believe here is the very satisfying answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can not only give your daughter that thing, but also your daughter can use it for another investment, which is her own home.
Yeah,
Not
you can take the money out.
Not bad. Okay. And there is one mother who wrote that my son is in the army.
Okay.
Her son, by the way I'm judging, she didn't mention about the exact age. Suppose if he went there 18,
Right.
in 1920 something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she says, I want to do him a favor upon his return.
Okay.
So may I do it without him, without his name, without his signing anything?
Okay. In as far as setting up an investment account for the son, assuming that it's not a retirement fund, or possibly, yes, you could set it up in her name. If she set it up as a retirement fund, like an IRA or a 401k, you'd have to make you could make the son the beneficiary of it, or you know. But yeah, you're not required to on an on an investment account. You're not required to like have a beneficiary, that type of thing, is what you're really talking about. So yeah, she could start an investment account. She could put money in there herself, you know. She could do it jointly with her son. If his son's in the military, he's got to be over 18 years old. So
that probably would be the part that she's asking.
So they do it. They
she's
can do
in
it
the
jointly.
military, and she's in the military, and all she has is a name.
Right.
So
he'd have to sign a document that says, on the application. Okay, that's no big deal. But they could own it jointly. Own
Jointly. Okay.
Jointly. And then when he gets out of the military, if he ever, decides to get out of the military, the money would be, they have joint ownership.
Okay.
So if she wanted to give it to him, she could eventually transfer ownership or whatever she wanted to do.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
And the next question is my question, my own question.
Okay.
And I know there are lots of folks, they are helping people with their financial plans.
Right.
They help you establish, they help you move forward. In other words, they are selling financial products, right? So with you, I feel more towards the helping the community kind of taste.
Right.
So are you different groups of people, or only you choose to work this way?
I choose to work this way. I choose to be an old-fashioned, professional financial planner, where I'm really concerned about what does the client want, how are we going to get there, that type of thing, instead of just selling products.
I thought I was going to ask a very silly question.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's not a silly question, right? Because, by the way, by doing so, how are you paid?
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a very honest question, and anybody who's professional will tell you up front how you're paid. Two ways. Professionals paid, it's usually, the way it's done in now, and I think it's a better way to do it, usually there's no commission involved in it. It's, you're charged a small percentage of what's called accounts under management. So let's say you got $1 million under that I'm managing. Every year I would take like maybe 1%. Okay, that's the way it's done. Okay, and the other way, and again, a very important way that we get paid is I don't advertise. I'm not advertising. It's all done by referrals. If I do a good job, you say, oh yeah, could you help out my mother or my father? That's how we get paid.
I see. Okay. All right.
Does that make sense?
That makes lots of sense, because it is all about the incentive we're talking about.
Right.
To take some reasonable fees is, of course, reasonable.
Right.
And everybody wants to get paid. That's
right. But you don't want to. You want to do it professionally. You also want to make sure that you're not just doing it one time. You want to be able. The way I look at it, and this is Steve Huntley doing it, I look at it as being a lifetime advisor. I look at it as being one of those people. That kid's 15 years old. I want to see them when they're 25, when they get older, because I know their life's going to change, and I know the plan that I develop at 15 is going to be really different at 40. Really
All right,
different.
Sounds very good. Okay, my dear audience, my lovely friends, today we're touching the very important part, which I know nothing about. And yet, to be honest with you, this is the only show that I get the biggest response. So it's like a joke. It's also like almost like a joke. And an area, the whole thing, subject, I know nothing about, by which I get the most accurate response, right? So, and it's interesting. With me today is my good friend, Stephen Huntley, and he is promoting his plan to let our young people start early, so that they can end up, by time of retirement, they can end up a millionaire, at least a millionaire.
A millionaire.
Oh, by the way, you're talking about 65, right? Age of 65, 65.
That usually is the retirement age for right now.
Okay, so if he or she starts at 15, and 50 years later.
50 years later,
50 years
be
later.
A multi-millionaire.
And a multi-millionaire. Okay, very good. So let's take a very short moment out, and when we come back, there are some concerns about safety.
Oh, okay.
Shall we please?
Sure.
Okay. Hello, my lovely audiences, my dear friends, especially those of you who wrote to me asking questions. Thank you very much for the concern. And of course, you're doing the right thing to care about your own sons and daughters, which is, I would say, nothing could be better, could be more important than this, right? With me today is my good friend, Stephen Huntley, who for the past 3 times were here with me for a show introducing his plan for making young people start early, by which the word says by the time they reach in retirement age, they will end up a millionaire or multi-millionaire. So it sounds like a joke. Sounds like, well, won't work. But if you really sit down to see the numbers, and that really works. Now, that's why I have him come back here again for another show for the 4th time, because I received more questions this time by the audiences. Okay, some audiences, at least 1/3 of the audiences, wrote to me asking about risk.
Okay.
All right. The term is that you're talking about the investment. Once the word investment applies, you really talk about a chance of losing the money, right? So with the plan that you are recommending, how big is the chance, or how small is the chance of losing the money, losing the whole thing?
Okay. When you sit with somebody, one of the that you do as a professional is you find out it's called risk aversion. Some people will take all their money and put it on a crap table in Las Vegas. Some people take all their money and stuff in a mattress. You know, they're scared of it. There's always going to be the element of risk. The question that you have to add is, what do you feel comfortable with? I mean, do you feel comfortable, betting more money? Okay, the more money that you risk, the theory is the more reward you should get. But there's always going to be an element of risk. That's just the way it is. The question is how do you limit the risk? And one of the ways you limit the risk is what's called diversification. In other words, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have different channels that are being invested. So if one goes up, one goes down. The idea is to keep moving forward. If you look at risk adverse or risk, investments, there's 2 things that are always going to be against you. That no matter, if you say, okay, I'm going to put my money in a mattress, well, that's fine. You can do that if you want, but you're going to be dealing with inflation. Inflation is running about 3% right now, and you're going to deal with taxation. Okay, taxation So what it actually is, if you say I'm scared to death, I'm going to put my money underneath my bed and not look at it, you're still losing about 4% a year because your Uncle Sam is taking his cut and inflation's taking theirs. The question is, what do you, as a professional, you have to understand what's the risk averse, and then you can put them into investments that they feel comfortable with, that they understand. You know, you don't want to put somebody in something that they're like, I don't understand what you're talking about, Steve. I don't know, you know, that's okay. But there are certain investments that you can put in that are not like really glamorous, like going up and going down, just keep chugging along, you know, making money, good companies, people who are running those companies or running those investment houses.
Who makes the selection?
Well,
Is the
usually-
agent or the mother?
Well, it's kind of both. You know, you want the mothers to understand. You got to talk to the mother and say, what is your risk tolerance? You know, you got the child say, okay, you treat the child like an adult. Tell me about, you know, what do you want to do for the risk? You put the money in there, and you also have to have a little bit of degree of flexibility, because if things change, if we run through like another 2008 or something like that, where the world goes a little crazy, you want to be able to move quickly and help people. But yeah, so it's all an educational purpose. It's understanding, and everybody's different. Every mother and every child is different. You can't just say, oh, because I met with them, these people are going to be the same way. It doesn't work like that.
I see. Okay, very good. In other words, in order to talk about the risk, you're saying that you got to manage your own risk.
Right.
Right. Does that mean there are stuff when they make more benefit, more expected in return, the higher the risk are?
Yeah, usually that's the rule. That the more risk, the more reward. But some people can't tolerate a risk like that. Some people can't. So you back off, and you look at the risk and compare it to what is the person's goal. You want to become a millionaire at 55? Okay. You want to get 5% interest per year? This is the risk you're going to have to take. You want to get 3% interest a year and not make a millionaire, as an example? This is the risk you're going to take. You adjust things accordingly.
Another case, you're talking about 5% of interest
Right.
paid. Does the 5% was taken? It was the 5% taken from average consideration?
Yeah, I think. Well, you know, right now, I mean, 5% is pretty conservative. You know, I think if somebody tells you that it's a lot more than that, I would be really careful. But you know, I took 5% because it's pretty standard, and if you make more money, it's great. If you make less money, you're not getting hurt as bad, but you'll be able to catch up a lot quicker. So, but I feel comfortable with being able to make 5%, even though it's pretty conservative, and I'd much rather fall on the side of conservative.
So at 5%, how big the interest rate? I mean, how big the risk is? So
moderate.
It looks that those mothers who were asking the question, they are conservative people.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean they don't need money, right?
No.
So they want to do everything in a kind of amicable range. So
yeah, I'd say 5% is a pretty moderate risk. I mean, it's not aggressive, it's not no risk at all.
Not too greedy.
It's just right in the middle of the road.
Never to be too greedy.
Yeah. You don't want to get too greedy. Then you get into trouble.
All right. Can you give me actual module? Say, if I have a son 15 years old,
Right.
or daughter 15 years old, how do you want to plan it? I'll say even younger, say 12, for example.
So you got a 12-year-old kid. In 6 years, the kid's going to be an adult. All right. In 10 years, the child will be done with college.
10 years by
right, 22.
Yeah, but 22. Yeah, 22.
Right.
So quite age of
so
time.
you as a parent want to put money away for the child. Okay. For what purpose? Well, let's say the purpose is you someday down the road you want your child to have a legacy of your retirement, as an example. So what you do is you say, okay, parent, you own it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put so much money away, and if you know, your son or your daughter wants to add a little to it if they earn some money, and then when they get to be 18 years old, we'll see about how you feel about turning this investment over to them. Maybe some kids at 18 are not ready for it. That's okay. Wait till they're 22 or 25 or whatever, eventually to turn the money over to them. You know?
But it's not the kid himself or the daughter herself manage the account.
No.
It is the agent manage the account, right?
I manage the account with the parent.
Yeah, with the parent,
but
yes.
If it's with a child, I will bring the child into the conversation because I want the child to understand what's going on. Why is mommy investing in this? Why is this happening? Because then when they get to be older, they'll say, "Oh, I understand. I know what this fund is. I know what this is happening. I know what taxation is."
Very good, very good. All right. So, my dear audience, today with my good friend Stephen Hunley, we're learning a lot, especially me for a person who has no basic knowledge of the whole area. I find like I'm sucking on the juicy part of the melon, or something like that.
Good way to put it.
All right. And my lovely audience who keep writing to me, asking questions, is I'm so proud of you. But the sad part is that it is only time when we would talk about an area that I know nothing about, and yet I received the most emails from you. Well, really, money counts, right?
Yeah.
money counts. Okay, and out of a little code, and I'm trying, and hopefully I tried my best, and my audiences will probably, it depends. If I keep receiving emails, I would have to still get you here to talk about it, all right? So my dear audiences, help is available, and help is on the way. Help is right next to you. So we'll see you next time.